Hello and welcome to our first video for DMA 10. This is section 1, video 1 for an introduction to integers. My name is Dane Peterson and I'm going to be your instructor for these lessons. I'm a math success coach here at the college and I'm going to be guiding you through all the different concepts that we'll be covering in DMA 10. So in this video we'll be discussing a lot of different terms and definitions for the integer numbers. We'll introduce the number line. Then we'll start graphing integers on the number line. In the next video for section 1, we'll cover what the inequality symbols look like and what they mean, the absolute value, and thinking of negative numbers as opposites of their positive counterparts. Now let's look at some different number systems that we'll use in this class. The first is the whole numbers, and that's defined as the set of numbers. We use these braces to define a set in mathematics, containing the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So all those whole numbers, no fractions, no decimals, just whole numbers there. The positive numbers are going to be the set of numbers 1, 2, 3, and continuing on. And then the negative numbers are going to be the negative counterparts of those positive numbers. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and on forever. Now notice that 0 is contained neither in the positive numbers or the negative numbers. 0 is neither positive or negative. It does not have a sign, so that's something to keep in mind. And finally, the numbers that we'll be dealing with for the bulk of this class are going to be the integers. And the integers are defined as the set of all those negative numbers, so counting backwards, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, but we could go more negative. We do contain the number 0, and then the positive numbers as well. So the integers we define as the negative numbers, the positive whole numbers, and 0 as well. So this is our first look at the number line. As you can see, it's going to include all of our positive integers, all of our negative integers, and the number 0. Keep in mind that's neither negative nor positive. And it goes on forever to infinity in both directions. So we can have an infinite number of positive numbers or an infinite number of negative numbers. Everything to the left of 0 is our negative numbers. Everything to the right of 0 over here is our positive numbers. We talk about movements a lot when we're dealing with the number line. As we move to the right on the number line, we're getting greater or more. As we move to the left on the number line, we're getting less or smaller. So if we look at a number like negative 2 and 3, we can say that negative 2 is greater than negative 3 because it's farther to the right on the number line. Even though they're both negative, negative 2 is going to be greater than negative 3. Negative 3 would be smaller or less than negative 2. And this might be a little contrary to what we would think. You would think, well, 3 is a bigger number than 2, so negative 3 might be bigger than negative 2. But that's not necessarily true here because it's farther to the left on the number line. It's going to be a smaller number. Now we're going to graph some numbers on the number line. Notice that this number line doesn't have any numbers labeled on that, and I did that on purpose. If we tried to label everything on here, we wouldn't have enough room to get everything from negative 6 to positive 5 on our number line. So we're going to have to change our scale. I'm going to go ahead and put 0 in the middle here. Okay, and I'm going to use a scale of 2. So when I go to the right, to the positives, I'm going to count by 2 each time. So that's going to be 2, 4, 6, and so on. And when I plot in my negative numbers, I'm going to count by multiples of 2 again. So I'll have negative 2, negative 4, and negative 6. So you would say the scale here equals 2. That means we count by 2 from each tick mark or each iteration on our number line. Let's go ahead and start plotting these numbers. First we'll plot -6, and when we plot that, we're just going to do a solid dot there on the -6. And it's important, especially when you're graphing these numbers in WebAssign, that we use solid dots. A solid dot means that number is included in our plot. A hollow dot, or just a ring, means that number is not included. So always make sure you're using solid dots in WebAssign to plot these numbers. Okay. The next number we'll plot is +4. So that's going to be to the right of 0, where our +4 is on the number line. Put a solid dot there. Okay. Now, next is going to be -1. Well, note that -1 isn't going to be plotted. We don't have a number for that on our number line. But if we imagine that this period right here from 0 to 2 is broken up into 2 spaces, -1 is going to fall right between those two. That's where -1 will fall. And finally, +5. Same concept. There's no number between 4 and 6, but we know that if we're counting by 2's, that 5 is going to be halfway between 4 and 6. So we'll plot 5 here. Very good. So that's all the information we're going to cover in this first video. We went over the definitions of the positive and negative numbers and our integers. We talked about what the number line is, and then we plotted some numbers on that number line. In our next video, for section 1, we'll cover the inequality symbols, absolute value, and thinking of negative numbers as opposites of their positive counterparts. We'll see you next time.